What's up, everybody? It's been a minute since I uploaded some Patreon-only content, so I thought I'd tell you guys about something that I did today. So back in my addiction, I've been clean 6.5 years now, and before I got clean, like addiction's a crazy thing, obviously, and so basically, part of my addiction was like, drugs and alcohol were my priority. Those were the #1 things that needed to get taken care of. So like, I'm terrible at budgeting. Tristan's always helping me with budgeting even today, right? I'm terrible with budgeting, but I always found money for drugs and alcohol. And what I did was, and any of you fellow addicts, you definitely can relate, I moved things around, right? And priorities changed. So my priorities being drugs and alcohol, I didn't pay my registration on my truck and I didn't pay my insurance. I did that for 1.5 years. For 1.5 years, I was constantly driving around, checking my mirrors every 5 seconds, seeing if a cop was gonna pull up behind me, because if they did, I was screwed. I actually got pulled over multiple times. So something I often teach you guys is to quit causing your own anxiety. Like, think about how much of my own anxiety I was causing because I refused to pay for my registration and insurance because I was busy buying drugs and alcohol. So I actually got pulled over once or twice, I think. Like one time it was with Dylan when he was still in a car seat, he was a baby, and they ended up letting me go because Dylan was like in the car seat, and like, thank God. It was like right when he was asking me for my insurance, I was having a freaking panic attack, right? And anyways, I started, seeing this girl. Some of you have seen me mention in videos. There was a girl I dated at the end of my addiction a little bit, and I tried to get back to together with her again after I got sober, and it was awful. Well, anyways, when I was seeing her, like, she didn't drive. So I would drive over to her place, and I'm not even BSing you. Within the matter of 2 weeks, I got pulled over 3 times. 3 times I got pulled over for no registration and no insurance. And like the first 2 times, like, cause I had California plates, I told the cop, I'm like, oh, I just moved back from California, I just bought this car in California, something like that, I'm getting it registered, I'm getting it insured or whatever, cause they could tow your vehicle, right? So the first 2 cops let me go. The third one impounded my freaking truck, right? So anyways, obviously you get some tickets for that too. So they impounded my truck. I ended up just getting rid of the truck because I was too broke to get it out of impound. And so I ended up getting rid of that truck. And anyways, when I moved back to, when I went out to Fresno to get sober, maybe a few months after that happened, and I was like getting rides from friends to go to work, and just, it was a hot mess. Well, anyways, I got sober in Fresno, California, and whatever, like I was paying off the tickets for it, and I stopped because I stopped working, I got sober, and I just, I brushed everything to the side. Some of you see my videos on avoidance. I was avoiding that. Like, I just didn't want to face it. I didn't want to talk to him. Like, I just brushed it to the side. I said, Chris, focus on your sobriety. Was this a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know, right? But I just pushed it off to the side. So I moved back to Las Vegas, and what I learned when getting sober was like, I have to live my life in a new way. I have to live my life in an honest, good way. So when I moved back to Vegas, I ended up calling the court and saying, hey, this is Chris Boutte. I have some tickets that, you know, I stopped paying on. I want to get it taken care of. So I gave them all my information, and basically they said, listen, you stop paying on your tickets, there's warrants out for your arrest. I'm like, dang. And they're like, so basically this woman from the court, she called me like every other day, if not every day. She's like, Mr. Boutte, she's like, I'm just calling to let you know you have warrants out and you need to pay these off. You need to pay these off or we're gonna send the sheriff to your door. And I was just in complete acceptance. Like, I told her, I'm like, listen, lady, I just got a job and I had like $1,000 in warrants. I'm like, listen, I just got a job. Ain't no way I could pay you. And she was like, can't you just borrow money from friends or family members? And I would just laugh at her. I'm like, girl, like, I am a recovering drug addict who has like a year sober. Ain't nobody trusting me to loan me some money, right? So like, she kept calling me and threatening to send the sheriff out. I'm like, do what you gotta do. I don't have the money, right? And good thing is, a sheriff never showed up at my door, so that's kind of cool. But anyways, I hope you learn from that too. Like, you can only do what you can do. Like, these are things that I have to work on. Like, yeah, was I nervous? Was I scared? Yeah, kind of, but I was just in acceptance. Like they taught me when I got sober, like, I have to accept the wreckage of my past, what I've done. But anyways, after a few months, I ended up saving the money and paying off those warrants, right? Well, those were just the warrants. Getting pulled over with no registration and no insurance 3 times, I think the penalty for no insurance is $1,000 each time. So that racked up $3,000. Then the registration, no registration thing, I think that was hundreds of dollars. So in tickets, after the warrants were paid off, I had over $3,000 in tickets. And I was making like no money at the job I was at. So I ended up haggling them down the court to, they wanted me to pay $200 a month, which I couldn't afford. I ended up haggling them down to paying $50 a month, and I was just paying $50 a month, $50 a month, $50 a month. Well, as I stayed sober, I started becoming better, more mentally healthy. I got my motivation, my drive back. I got a new job, a better job. That's when I started working at the treatment center, making like an actual adult salary, you know what I mean? And I could pay more. I could pay more for that $50 a month, but I chose to only pay the minimum. And here's why. I wanted to have a reminder every single month, once a month, I wanted a reminder of the kind of stupid decisions I make when I start drinking and using drugs, right? I kept that there as a reminder. I kept that there to remind me every single month. And not only was it a reminder of that, it reminded me of how grateful I am for Tristan, because part of that ticket was seeing a girl who I shouldn't have been seeing in the first place. You know what I mean? So I did that every single month, and you know, thanks to all of you, you know, from Patreon, and thanks to what I'm able to do on YouTube and write books and everything, I'm actually a little bit more financially stable. And today, what I did was, I had about, after 6 years of paying $50 a month, I had, you know, a little bit left. I think like $400 something left. And like, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pay it off. I'm just gonna pay it off. And I did it, and I was like telling Tristan, I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, I haven't done this. Like, I've been keeping it here as a monthly reminder. So today I finally paid it off, and I just want you guys to learn from it. Like, not only do things get better, but you know, like a lot of people want to forget their past and not remember their past. But for me, I choose to remember my past and have little things remind me of it. So it reminds me of where I don't want to be again, and it also reminds me of how far I've come, you know? So I don't know. It's kind of weird because now I don't have that thing to look back on or see every single month. It is good though, because every month I would like freak out and be like, oh, did I pay it? Did I pay it this month? I don't want to, you know, so I don't got to worry about that anymore, but I'm probably going to freak out in February anyways. Anyways, I want to share that story with you guys, and you know, if you want, leave comments and things like that. Like, do you have little reminders that remind you how far you've come? Another thing that I do is share part of my story in my videos through little things. It's a regular reminder of how far I've come. Something else that you can do is journal. Journaling is great, just writing down where you're at in life and, you know, whatever, and look back on your old pages and say, oh wow, there's that moment, there's that day where I thought I was never gonna get through it, and you know, that was months ago, and here I am today. And what that does is it reminds us that we can get through things. You know, things aren't terrible forever, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves of that. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I don't freak out in February thinking I need to pay that ticket anymore. Anyways, thanks for all of your support. I hope you guys looked at the updated tiers and everything. There's some brand new stuff in there. We're gonna be doing monthly group calls. I put up a poll. The group calls are for everybody at the $20 tier and up. If you're at the $50 tier and you haven't scheduled your one-on-one with me for January yet, shoot me a message. Let me know what days work for you. Give me a few options so we can try to sync up and all of that, all right? But anyways, hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.